This is Group 1 of 01 DA with Assessing the Impact, Digital Media's Influence on Academic Achievement. I am Velocity Marinas, the leader. And these are my group mates, Luis Andre Tinarag, Erwin Carlo A. Cruz, Remark B. Rubio, and Yuan Warren Torreta. Their contributions are under their names. First part, the survey aims that will be covered by Torreta.
Survey aims to is to prove the digital media significant effects on students while they go on with their academic activities. To find a pattern in which students use digital media and determine if that pattern is positive or negative. To uncover the correlation of the use of digital media to academic activities and determine if digital media can contribute to an increase or decrease in academic quality.
Okay. Now with each section's significance. Section A.
Section A will determine the students' duration in digital media and the awareness of students when it comes to the usage of digital media.
Section B.
Section B will give us an insight of what students frequently do in digital media.
And Section C.
Section C will inform the presence of academic activity within digital media.
Let's start with the demographics. Covered by Erwin.
110 or 49.77% respondents who are male, and there are 111 or 50% amount of respondents who are female. The gender distribution in the population is pretty much equal. Most of the respondents are grade 11 students, which consists of 164 people, which is 74% of the total population. Less than the grade 11 students are the grade 12 students, which has 57 respondents, which is 25% of the total population. Majority of the students are mostly in the age group of 16 to 18 years old, which has a total of 218 people, or 98% of the total amount of respondents, while only 3 respondents are in the age group of 19 years old to 20 years old.
Next part is a dashboard discussion by Rubio.
Section A, hours spent on digital media. Majority of respondents used to spend more than 4 hours on digital media, which has 135 or 61%, while 54 or 24% in spending 2 to 4 hours and 30 or 14% for 1 hour to 2 hours. The smallest percentage that is really amazing that they only spend a less than an hour has only 1%. In time spent watching videos on social media is interesting, especially when you're eating, right? Based on the survey, still the more than 4 hours has the biggest percentage, and that's 75 or 34%. Next is 2 hours, which has 56 or 25%. Then 1 hour that has 48 or 22%. And for 3 hours, it has 35 or 16%. The last one, which is 30 minutes only, got 7 or 3%. Utilization specific features to limit screen time. On the result of a survey, most answered the red ones that has 95 or 43%. The next one that they actively use specific features or apps to monitor their screen time got 80 or 36%. Then in yellow ones that they used it before got 39 or 18%. And the last one that are not aware has 7 or 3%. Frequency of phone usage before sleep. We can stop ourselves to use the phone before going to sleep. Maybe others use it to help them to sleep. According to our survey, 114 or 52% are always using their phone before going to sleeping. Then 73 or 33% oftenly use their phones before going to sleep. Lastly, 34 or 15% of the population sometimes use their phones before going to sleep. Specific time of day. The biggest number on the bar graph is 87 which has 40% specific time of day using social media, 60 or 27% in afternoon, 49 or 22% in late night, 14 or 6% during noon, and 14 or 5% in morning. Satisfaction between the balance between offline and online activities. Based on the result, moderately satisfied has the biggest number, which equivalent to 87 or 39%. Then neutral has 72 or 33%. Very satisfied has 40 or 18%. Moderately satisfied 15 or 6%. And very dissatisfied 7 or 4%. Frequency of thought that digital media affects productivity and daily routine. Sometimes takes the cake on the most, having 111 or 50%, very often is 85 or 38%, rarely gets 21 or 10%, never and not sure or prefer not to answer both get 2 or 1% of the donut. Consciously try to reduce digital media exposure. Students consciously mostly try to reduce digital media exposure by having yes as an answer 196 times or 88% of the answers, while no gets 25 or 12% of the participants. Status of frequency of usage over the past year. 105 or 47% of the students saw an increase with their usage, while 60 or 28% saw a decrease to their activity, and 56 or 25% stayed the same.
Section B.
Participant Participant often finds themselves using digital media as a means of multitasking. 181 or 82% of the participants found themselves using digital media as means of multitask. 21 or 11% maybe used digital media as a means of multitask, and 14 or 7% didn't use the digital media as a tool of many works. Digital media platform type used regularly. Social media is the top used platform with 199 or 17.5%. Second is messaging platforms with 195 or 65.5%. Music streaming site gets 175 or 15.5%. Gaming platforms with 119 or 10%. Education platforms 114 or 9.5%. Content creation is 104 or 8%. Streaming services also gets 97 or 7.55%. 96 or 7.45% of people use emails. News and information 38 or 33.55, as well as online forums. Also get also with 37 or 3.45% and 14 or 1% for other platforms. Email sites frequented. Google Mail Google Mail is the most common email site with 98.2%. The uses of Microsoft Outlook are only 3 or 1.4%, and unbelievably 1 or 0.4% never used one. Social media platform frequented. Most common of all social media platform is Facebook with 88 or 40%. TikTok is second with 81 or 37%. Instagram is 27 or 12%. Twitter is 14 or 6%. YouTube is 5 with 2%. Reddit with 3 or 1%. And Tumblr, Spotify, YouTube, and none with 1 or 0.5%. Blog or content creation site frequented. Unsurprising, Canva is the most frequented with 115 or 52.5%. Following a second is Pinterest with 75 or 34%. Google Trends has 12 or 5%. Grammarly was only 10 or 3.8%. SlideShare was only 1 or 0.4%, and 10 or 3.6% never used one. Streaming service frequented. For streaming services, YouTube TV is used a lot with 103 or 48%. Next to it is Netflix with 94 or 44%. Disney Plus with 6 or 3%. HBO Go is only 1%. Via TikTok, View, TikTok, Pirated, My Flixer, and MFC, Your Watch, and Bilibili are all 1 or 0.67%. Music streaming platforms used frequently. In the music streaming platform, Spotify got the highest percentage, which is 155 or 70%. YouTube got the second highest and got 50 or 23%. People who don't use music platforms are 8 or 3%, and the rest of music platforms got same. Pure Tiber and Apple Music got 2 or 1%, and SoundCloud, Pandora, MuseScore, and MP3 got 1 or 0.1%. New information sites visited more than others. Philstar is the most frequented with 69 or 32%. Inquirer has 58 or 23%. CNN is 28 or 13%. Sunstar has a measly 6 or 2.7%. Times is 5 or 2.3%. Fox News, EBS-CBN, and GMA are all 1 or 0.33%. And those who don't use news information sites are 58 or 26%. Messaging platforms used often. As expected, Facebook Messenger is the most with 196 or 89%. Discord is with 14 or 6%. Instagram messaging has 8 or 4%. Snapchat messaging, Telegram, and WhatsApp all have 1 or 0.66%. Gaming platform used often. Roblox, being a free-based game, is frequently the most with 77 or 35%, while, while Steam is 41 or 19%, PlayStation is 17 or 7.5%, Microsoft Store has 16 or 7%, Epic Game Store 8 or 3.5%, Nintendo Switch 2 or 1%, Xbox App, Riot Games, Mobile Legends, Valorant, League of Legends, Genshin Impact, GeForce Now, Code M, and Android all have 1 or 0.44%. Online forum sites frequently used. Reddit being most frequent has 92 or 42%. Quora is 34 or 15%. Yahoo Groups is 6 or 2.7%. Stack Overflow 2 or 0.9%. 4chan 4 or 1.8%. IGN Boards, Kaya Online, Facebook, and Quora all have 1 or 0.65%, and 78 or 35% never visited one.
Sec- okay.
Likelihood to communicate with peers through digital media. The likelihood to communicate with peers through digital media were very likely with almost 110 or 50%. Likely has 61 or 27.45%. Unsure is 41 or 18.55%. Least is likely 7 or 3.1%, and least likely is 2 or 1.9%. Using digital media to communicate with family members. Participants frequently communicated with their family members through digital media with 92 or 42%. Being frequently sometimes is 72 or 32%. Occasionally is 38 or 17%. Rarely only being 19 or 9% of the responses. As well as using digital media to communicate with family, friends are also communicated through digital media, frequently with 153 or 69% of the participants doing so. 37 or 18% only sometimes communicate with friends. Occasionally is 16 or 6.55%. Rarely has 15 or 6.45%. Sharing personal photos and videos through digital media. Posting photos and videos are made in sometimes as shown with sometimes being 102 or 46%. Most of the time is 73 or 33%. All of the time has 39 or 18%. And those who never did are 7 or 3% only. Researching a product online. Researching a product is a must, as always having most response being 104 or 47%, often is 64 or 31%, occasionally is 33 or 15%, rarely has 14 or 6%, and 2 or 1% is those who never researched a product online. Using digital media to get to know someone better. For participants, they often use digital media to get to know someone better, as shown as often having 84 or 38% of the responses, followed by occasionally having 56 or 25%, always is 14 or 21%, rarely being 31 or 14%, and those nevers who are faithful having 5 or 2%.
Section C.
Frequently of using digital media for education. Majority of the students, exactly 141 respondents or 63.8%, use digital media for education daily. 56 respondents or 25.3% use digital media for education on weekdays only. 22 respondents or 9.9% use digital media for education weekly. And lastly, only 2 respondents or 1% use digital media for education monthly. The frequency of using digital media to study an academic subject. 92 or 42% of respondents have voted that they are very likely to use digital media to study an academic subject. 81 or 37% respondents have voted likely. 36 or 16% respondents were neutral. 9 or 4% have voted unlikely. And lastly, 3 or 1% only have voted very unlikely. Seeing improvements on studying with the exposure of social media. 157 or 71% of respondents have reported to seeing improvements in their studying with the exposure of social media, while 26 or 12% have voted no. 20 or 9% are unsure. 17 or 7.4% did not notice any significant changes. And lastly, 0.6% or 1% only preferred not to answer. Dependence to search engine to find information. 110 or half of respondents have reported that they mostly depend on search engines to find information. 82 or 37% reported almost entirely dependent. 24 or 10% have reported to be partly dependent, while 5 or 3% answered none at all. Finding concentration to studies difficult due to disruptions from digital media. 115 or 52% of respondents have reported that they sometimes find concentrating to studies difficult due to disruptions from digital media, while 73 or 33% said to have frequent difficulties, 26 or 12% rarely find difficulties, and lastly, 7 or 3% said that they never experienced difficulties. Digital media weighed more significant than academic activity. 79 or 36% of respondents have reported unlikely that digital media weighed more significance compared to that of academic activity. Also, 79 or 36% respondents reported that it is least likely. 40 or 18% have reported likely. 23 or 10% have reported that it is most likely. Utilization of strategies or tools to limit digital media usage to improve academic activity. 111 or 50% of the respondents have reported that they successfully utilized the strategies or tools to limit digital media usage to improve academic activity, while 78 or 35% reported that they do not but they are unsuccessful. And lastly, 32 or 14% have reported that they never attempted. Reliance on educational videos as opposed to reading modules. 88 or 40% respondents have reported mostly relying on education videos as opposed to reading modules. 84 or 38% have reported to partly rely on it. 36 or 16% rarely rely on it. And lastly, 13 or 5% have never relied on education videos as opposed to reading modules.
Now for the findings. Section A. Students spend 4 or more hours using digital media, most of the time watching videos. Most of the time, they did not utilize specific features to limit screen time. Features. Stress that. Other than that, they do and did. They use digital media at evening, even before sleeping. This might be because of a busy day before that. They sometimes thought that digital media affects their productivity in daily activities, sometimes. Even consciously tried to reduce exposure. Yet, they've mostly only seen an increase of activity. Now for section B. Participants often find themselves using digital media as a means of multitask, but most of them use the platform social media, followed by messaging apps and music streaming sites. Other than that, the most used app sites for each are Facebook for social media, Gmail for email, Canva for content creation, YouTube for streaming, Spotify for music streaming, Philstar for news sites, Messenger or Facebook for messaging applications, Roblox for gaming platforms, Reddit for online forums. Furthermore, they also use it as a means of communication with peers like family and friends. as seen here with frequently being the most of answers and 5 being the most with that is very likely. And the vast majority states that they sometimes post personal photos and or videos, as well as using to research for a product and to get to know a person better. Findings for section C. Digital media is frequently utilized for academic activities. Digital media is frequently utilized for academic activities. Participants use digital media as a means of education daily and were likely used for an academic subject. They saw improvements in studying by being exposed to social media, though they might have depended on research engines to find information, sometimes sometimes finding concentration difficult due to distractions from digital media. Sometimes, and that only means that they are still focused on academic activities. They did not find their time on digital media more significant than academic activities, meaning they are still aware of their academic ventures. Even even though mostly relying on educational videos rather than reading modules, they found strategies as earlier features were not very used, but they've used strategies to reduce or limit digital media usage so to improve academic activities. To conclude my findings, digital media plays a role to the lives of students, whether it be watching videos, posting videos and photos, scrolling through social media, and searching for any type of information, but most prominently, it is also used as a means of education. Hence, digital media is an equilibrium of outcomes. It depends on the user whether it would be used wisely or be a distraction and a waste of time. But for most students, they use it wisely. Digital media is one of the most significant parts of today's lives. We even use it before sleeping. You, I know I do. Comparing it to demographics, I conclude that females are the top answers, with only 1 point difference to male. Grade 11s were most present with 164 people, and the age groups were mostly 16 to 18 years old, meaning their distribution impacted the results of the findings. So for most of the time, female grade 11 with the age range of 16 to 18 years old were the ones answering the survey, and partially most of the results coming from the findings are from them. Slightly, male grade 11 students with the age group of 16 to 18 also contributed significantly due to their mixed answers. They've not only picked something else, but also contributed to the most of the survey. Same with the grade 12's male and female students with the age range of 19 and 20 years old. Stereotype, female student who's a grade 11 from the age range 16 to 18 years old who uses social media most of the time and watch videos, who mostly use digital media at the evening, even before sleeping, even so, she has not forgotten the importance of academic activities. Stereotype the common answers, to which she visits daily. To deduce my comparison, I can infer that some groups likely had the same likeness, ideals, and morals with each member, and that they seem to lead the same path in life. Now, for the conclusion,
Learning from procedures. From the survey procedure, we've learned that it was important to start doing the procedures early so that it does not stack on you like a house of cards. We've also learned that distribution of work will not only smoothen out the survey and presentation, but also quicken the process of making the survey and presentation. And to signify, the significance of this survey is that it is aimed at better understanding the presence of digital media on students, what are its effects, and how it correlates to academic activities. And now for the results. The results of this survey were slightly surprising. Nonetheless, it was still along the lines of reality and expectation. Most of the responses fitted the description of the average student living their daily life studying and having fun. Through some answers might differ from others, nonetheless, they still fit in society.
Now, for the recommendations. The recommendations are covered by me. Monitor your time. Monitoring time is a must when you plan on making activities. One must not get too distracted and fall out of line. We suggest that you track your time on apps and sites so to better execute plans early and confidently. Work first, then leisure. Completing your tasks before relaxing is key to enjoying leisure without lingering worries. By finishing your work beforehand, you clear the mental clutter and create a space for uninterrupted relaxation. This approach allows you to fully immerse yourself in leisure activities, free from the weight of pending responsibilities. Balance leisure and work. Now, the balance of leisure and work are key when going about your day. Doing too much leisure would make you procrastinate, and doing too much work will burn you out. We recommend that one must do work equal to as much as leisure is done. With that concludes our presentation. We want to thank you for your attention. Goodbye and have a nice day.